Okay, guys, I see many of you have joined. We can start, right? So I hope this point is clear to everyone that when you are going to check REST API operations, when you're going to keep it unchecked. Though the nature of the application will obviously be decided and it will be known by application owner. Application owner will know that this storage account which he or she is creating, whether it is going to be used by API calls or not. Right? They know their application, but you should know the technical aspect of it. That what does it mean? What does it mean when you check it? What do you mean by application REST API? So if I have an application like this core application and whatever data I'm getting for my devices, this whatever data I'm getting from my equipments, whether checking equipments, that I'm dumping here, that I'm saving here. Now, if I don't enable REST APIs on this storage account, then it's of no use for me. I'm collecting the data, but no other application is able to access the data from me. So I'm just wasting that data. If people come to my website directly, maybe that's the only use, right? But there are famous websites, people are using their websites and they want to come to me, but just because I have not enabled API, so I'm not earning because of that, right? So this application owner will definitely know it. They will tell you whether they want API or not. Next is your allow enabling anonymous access on your individual containers. Now, what is a container? A container, it's like a folder in a storage account. Let's consider your storage account as a drive, as a disk. In a drive, you will have folders and files. So container, it is as good as a folder. Though you should not be using these analogies in your interview, right? We have faced a negative experience because of this. A candidate was explaining similarly like this, and he mentioned that containers are folder, blobs are files. To make an analogy, it is correct, but it's not exactly like a folder. A folder may have some other features, container has a different feature. But to make an analogy for your understanding, container, it's something which will hold your blobs. Blobs are nothing but files, MP3, MP4, JPEG, Notepad, OneNote, uh, anything and everything. Dot text से लेकर dot MP4, dot MP3, anything and everything you want to dump, you can use blobs. You can do that. Right? But where will you put these blobs? Not directly under storage account. That will be under containers. So containers are as good as folders. We are not calling them exactly like folder, but if you check by hierarchy wise, containers are folders. So what is it saying? That allow enabling anonymous access on individual containers. Now I told you that unlike machines, like app service and this storage account, their default nature it's to be available publicly. Now when we create this, at the end we are going to get a URL, and that URL it's publicly accessible. Don't confuse yourself ever, not only with storage, with anything. Network connectivity, it's a different thing, and authentication, it's a different thing. Just because it is available publicly, does it mean that everyone should be able to access it? For example, if I have my machine with a public IP, even if I give you my public IP, will you be able to log into this unless I share my user ID and password with you? Yes, are you getting it, guys? Like if you have my machine's public IP, maybe you can access that. You'll get that page, login ID and password, but you will not be able to access that machine. So similar, if I want for my storage account, then I'll have to uncheck this box. If I keep it unchecked, and at the end, if I create something, I create a file and I share the link, you guys will be able to access that link. Network connectivity to that link will be there. Why? Because it is in public domain. It's over the internet. But you will not be able to see the file within it because it is not allowing the anonymous access. Then you may have to log in. I can put some login ID and password. You can log in and then check. So accessibility over the internet, it's a different thing. And authentication is a different thing. So by checking or unchecking this, it is not saying whether you want to go over the internet or not. It is by default going to go over the internet. But anyone who has the link should be able to access this, or should they have user ID and password? So if I check this box, anyone who has the link, that person will be able to access. Why? Because I'm enabling the anonymous access to individual containers. If I uncheck this box, then people with user ID and password only will be able to access. Both things will happen over the internet. So as of now, I will check this. Enable storage account key access. This is very important. What is a key access? Now, when we create this, we are going to see how do we access these accounts. How do we access this account? Or if we talk about just this account as of now, you can access multiple accounts also. But if I talk about only this one, how do we access this account? One thing, it's you come to portal and you access this. The other one is Storage Explorer. I shared a link with you guys and I asked you to download it. I'm not certain if you guys have done that or not. How many of you did that? Storage Explorer account, or software. That is a software, I would say. How many of you have installed Storage Explorer? Anyone managed to do that, guys? I shared a link with you.
Yes, sir. I've
Oh,
installed it.
okay, great. So even I don't have it because I wanted to show it to you. I had it, I uninstalled it, right? So you'll go to that link which I have shared with you. And once you go there, you will see a file, an executable file, a download file. So if I go here, if I click on that link and select my OS accordingly, I'll get a file which will give me a, a link to download, an executable file to download. So let me open that link so I can show it to you. And why are we doing this? So we can access our storage account using some different method also. We can obviously do that using portal, but I don't want to give portal access. Let's say that I have someone, I want him or her to use my storage account, but not on the portal, right? I don't want to give him my portal access directly. So I'll go to that link, the one which I have shared with you. That will get in our portal also, inside also. Scroll it down. Unless you get that option, it was some here somewhere. Here it is. Download now. Click. As of now, I'm on Windows, so I'll go ahead with Windows. If I'm using Mac, I'll go with Mac. Linux, right? As of now, Windows. It will give me an executable file. This is the file, Storage Explorer.exe. It is being downloaded. So if you want to access your account other than the portal, not directly on the portal, because you will be giving your storage account access to many people, right? But you don't want them to come to your portal. You don't want to create an ID and they come and log into the portal. You'll have to create an ID for them, but you can block the access, block the login to the portal. That they should not come to your portal, they should not be able to see anything. But using that user ID and password, they should be able to use the storage account, only the storage account. So for them to access your storage account, first thing you'll have to enable the storage account key access. And second thing, they will require this software. So I'm going to install this software now. So it's simple .exe file. You double click on that. It's an executable file. Uh, it will ask you some details. I clicked on install. I got a pop-up. It is asking yes or no. It went to the first screen. Can't drag it here. I clicked on yes. Then the installation will start. We simply have to do next, 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 next. It may take some time and it should be installed in some time. Once we have it, we'll be able to use it using our user ID and password that I'll show you later. First, I have started the installation. Let's come to that later. But if I want you to access my storage account, if you want me to access your storage account via Storage Explorer, then you'll have to check this box because Storage Explorer will ultimately use this account key. This key is useful for many things, even for uh, even for this API calls, etc. This key is very useful, right? So we'll always check this key. Default enter ID authorization in portal. We can check this if we want only our AD authentication to be there, but we are not going to use this. TLS version, you don't have to worry about it. What is it? It's a detailed different story of TLS version, that which TLS version supports what, etc. So don't bother about it at all. There are many things in storage which we are going to skip, and TLS is one of them. But at least you should know this, that what are the current version, what is the current version, and what are the versions available. I remember it was asked to one of the students that which TLS version are you using, and said version 9. Why? Because didn't read at all. So that should not be the case. Even if you don't understand that what is the difference between TLS version 1, 1.1 and 1.2, but if you are claiming that you have worked as an Azure admin and you create storage account on daily basis, trust me, anyone who creates storage account will know that how many versions are there. It's not a list of version, only three, 1, 1.1, 1.2. Latest is 1.2. That is obvious. Right? So you should at least know that which are the version available in the market and which is the latest one. What are they doing? Why are we using it? What is the difference between version 1, 1.1 and 1.2? You don't have to worry about it. Your storage account requester will share this information that, okay, I will need this TLS version. They must have done their study, their application team, they will do everything, they will do it. You don't have to worry about it. But you should at least know in an interview, they may ask, okay, you are creating a storage account on daily basis. So which TLS version do you use on frequently? Okay. You can't go ahead and say 5, 9, 10, any number, random number. It is either 1, 1.1 or 1.2. Just for your information, legacy applications, old applications, if I have my application on-prem and I'm just using storage account on cloud, so maybe I'll go ahead with 1 because my application is old. But if I'm building my new application, everything on cloud, everything is on cloud, or even if it is on-prem and I'm creating it from scratch using new technologies, then it will by default support TLS version 1.2. But you don't know that. Their application owner knows, developer knows. So you should just know that which are the versions available and which one should which one are you using. Permanent scope to copy operations. This is in preview. What do you mean by preview? Preview, you get it for either trainers or temp accounts, etc. You don't use it ever in store in production environment. Any feature which is in preview, you don't use that in production environment. So what does it say? Permitted scope for copy the operations. So if you want to copy something to this storage account from any storage account or from storage accounts in the same Entra ID. So if I select this, I will be able to copy the data from one storage account to another storage account only from UT-Kloud, not from the other. Let's say I have some Tsoft company, a different entity. I won't be able to copy anything from Tsoft. I will be able to copy anything from same entity, from storage account that have the private endpoints and same virtual network. What is private endpoint? We're going to see later, but virtual network you know already. So if I select this option, I will be able to copy the data within the storage account only if they are in same virtual network. Only if they are on same virtual network, then only. But if I select this, virtual networks can be different, but at least they have to be in same company. Both of them should belong to UT-Kloud, right? But if I select this from any storage account, now it doesn't matter whether it is in UT-Kloud, Tsoft, different VNet, same VNet. From any storage account, I'll be able to copy paste. This is what it is. Namespace, we can ignore it. Enable SFTP, ignore it. If they're asking you to enable it, enable it. What does it do? We don't have to worry about it. These are specifically, uh, I would say it's a data point, so we don't have to worry about it. Some DBA and database administrator, those guys will deal with this. You don't have to worry about this. You don't have to worry about this. If they're asking you to check this, check this. If they're not asking you to check this box, leave it. Up to you. Right? Allow cross-tenant replication. If I check this box, it will allow me to replicate my data to your tenant also. For example, again, I have a storage account in UT-Kloud. I want to replicate that. Now, replication, it's a part of ASR, site recovery service. Replication is different from backup. What is a backup? We have seen that in detail. Backup, I what I do that I suggest my machine, or I create a policy, backup policy, that my machine should be backed up 1 p.m. every day. So after 1 hour, now after 45 minutes, my machine will be backed up at 1 p.m., right? And it will save that as an isolated copy. 1 p.m. का जो backup हो चुका है कल, that's an isolated copy. 1 p.m. backup which will be done today, that will be an isolated copy, right? After 1 p.m. today, once I have the backup, and 2 p.m., if some ransomware hits my account, it is not going to impact the copy which I have from today 1 p.m. I'll be able to restore, and that data will not have that virus. That is your backup. However, replication, it is replicating the data on continuous mode. There's a hardly gap of, what do you say, 5 minutes maximum, that whatever you're doing in your machine here, that will be replicated to another machine, or in this case storage account. But replication is same, be it storage account or machine, replication concept is same. So that is a difference between backup and replication. Backup, it's one time activity. One time as in you can have it multiple times also in a day. You can say that, okay, back up my machine at 12 p.m., then 3 p.m., then 6 p.m., then 9 p.m. You can do that, up to you, right? But 12 p.m. and 3 p.m., whatever copy you have captured and at 12 p.m., and if something goes wrong at 2 p.m., that 12 p.m. copy will not be affected. They have captured the data and now they made it an isolated copy of that. That is your backup. But replication, whatever is happening in your machine in real time, it's being replicated and making another copy of it. Why do we do that? We're going to see that, but that is your replication. So if you want that replication, if you want to allow the replication across tenant, as in I am sitting in UT-Kloud and I want this replication to happen, maybe in future I will put the replication with Tsoft, then I'll have to check this box. If I don't want that to happen cross tenant, I want that everything to be in my own tenant, I am okay with the replication, but replication should happen maybe from east to west to west to US, etc. But it should not go maybe resource group 1 to resource group 2, maybe storage account 1 to storage account B, anywhere, but it should not go beyond my tenant. It should not go beyond UT-Kloud. Then I will uncheck this box. Guys, clear till here? API, anonymous access, storage account key, scope of copy operation, TLS version, ignore. These all things you can ignore. Is this clear till here? Any doubts, anywhere you want me to repeat, please do ask. These are important things when it comes to storage account.
Yes.
Okay. Now, access tier. What is an access tier? An access tier is a default tier that is inferred by any blob without explicitly set tier. The hot access tier, I mean, this is bookish definition. You guys can go ahead and read it. I'll explain it to you. What is it? See, uh, Azure will take it and will not suggest you something. It will take the hot tier. It will take the hot tier. You have to decide here that what tier do you want to take. How will you do that? That I will explain. Maybe you as a not admin, sometimes this is being discussed at architect level, and your application team, they will know that what kind of tier they want to use. But again, guys, I have been telling you that when you are planning to show your experience for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, right? You can't say for everything कि यार वो भी architect team में decide होता था, ये भी वहीं पर होता था. I don't know anything. I just used to get a build sheet and I used to do exactly how it is in build sheet. If they want to do that, they can hire a engineering fresher, right? SOP ही देख के बस click next करना है. You get more articles on Microsoft website. They have shown the pictures, images, everything in detail, that to create account, click here, next click here, select here, right? Any engineering fresh out student on 3 LPA can go ahead and read that and build that. They want someone who has better understanding. So even if you are not working as an architect, you are not involved in that team, these are the basic things you should know. You can say that, okay, we were not the decisive authority, but I know what is the concept. Right? So let me explain it now. Hot tier. When will you select the hot tier? Hot tier, it's optimized for a frequently accessed data in everyday user scenario. For example, now I have a website, news website. Now, you news website, do you think it is a famous news portal, let's say, right? BBC. Or if we talk about India, let's say NDTV or anything. News portal. Do you think people are accessing news portal once in a while? Maybe once in 2 years or something like this? Or their regular users, do they frequently use that? What is the nature of a news portal? What do you think? Maybe not same user, but my website, is it being accessed frequently or is it just sitting there in dormant position and sometimes people are accessing that? What is the nature of a news portal, guys?
Frequently.
Frequently accessed, right? Some or the other person will be checking that something happened, some bad happened last week, unfortunate thing happened, right? I wanted to check news, simply went to mobile browser, opened that, what is the current status, right? What is the current status, how is it going, or did we get any more details? Not anything I want to check, I'll go to the news. Or we hear anything about maybe some flood situation, maybe some earthquake, not only bad news, maybe good news also. I want to check the update on the cricket. I want to check the upgrade on, let's say NASA is launching something, maybe ISRO is doing something. Anything and everything, whatever I want to do, which is related to news, I'll simply go ahead and access the news channel. It can be anything, right? So there are crores of people, maybe lakhs of them are using BBC, lakhs of them are using CNN, etc. But it is frequently being used. So if they are saying their data, if they are saving their data in Azure storage account, so while saving that, they should use hot tier. Why? Because the pricing method of hot tier is pricing method of these access tier that any data which is frequently accessed there, you are going to get less charges for accessibility, right? And more charges for storage. When it comes to storage account, there are two types of charges. One is for saving your data. For example, I have a storage account with Azure and I've saved 5 MB of data. Now I'm being charged for this 5 MB. Even if I access this, I don't access this, I'm being charged for 5 MB. One thing is, it's not only in Azure, by the way, but we'll stick to Azure. Even if you have petabyte of data, terabyte and petabyte of data, Azure will not charge you a single rupee for ingress transaction, which means incoming transaction. If you have terabyte of data on your data center, and if you're planning to move that data to Azure, Azure is not charging you for this transaction. This is their business move, right? Otherwise, who would go? If you say that, okay, you have to pay me first, no one would go there. So Azure says incoming data, it's completely free. Even if you have data in terabyte, first incoming transaction is completely free. In this case, 5 MB. I copied a file from my desktop here, a picture, an image, or maybe a video or recording, 5 MB. For that transaction, for being copied, I was not charged anything. But to keep this data here with Azure, I'll be charged. For 5 MB, maybe I'll be charged 1 rupee per MB. The rates and the amounts which I'm quoting, guys, these are completely vague amounts just for the example. Okay. It doesn't work like this, but I'm just sharing it for your example. Obviously, amount is there, a figure is also there, a number is also there, but maybe not in rupees, not in this decimal. So don't quote me on the numbers. But for your understanding, we'll do that. 5 MB data, Azure will charge me for saving maybe 1 rupee, 1 MB. This is the cost if I select hot tier. This is the cost for saving my data. What about accessing the data? I have kept an image over there. and I have a website where people are coming and checking my images. Maybe I'm a photographer. I have in 5 MB I've kept 100 images, right? For 5 MB, Azure is charging me 1 rupees per MB, maybe monthly or hourly, whatever is there. We don't have to get into that now. Let's say 1 rupee, 1 MB monthly. That is the fixed charges they are doing it. Now, because I have selected hot tier, Azure will say, I'll charge you 1 rupee per 10K hits or 10K transactions. That 10,000 people are coming to your website and checking your image, which image is saved in my Azure storage account, hot tier. This is what it is going to be charged, right? This is your hot tier. If I select cold tier, what does it say? Optimized for infrequently accessed data and backup scenarios. So if I have this 5 MB of data again, 5 MB data, and this is in cold tier. Azure is not suggesting, okay, when I say it is in cold tier, they are not giving you take cold tier or hot tier. You are selecting. So on what basis you should be selecting, that I'm trying to explain. So if you select cold tier, why would you do that? If your data, you know that my data, it's very infrequently accessed. I'm just going to keep it over there. For example, my website, UT-Kloud. I know people are not accessing that frequently, and that's not even the nature of the website. I don't want anyone to come and it's not like Facebook or Instagram or Amazon that I want traffic on that. It is just for the information purpose. So if someone is asking me questions, I can redirect them. Please go to my website. Every information is there, like next batch, timing, uh, fees, etc. Right? Frequently asked questions. Please go there and check. So it will be accessed only when someone is inquiring. Now I'm already running a batch. I know not many people will go there, right? Maybe before next batch, I will have traffic. So I know that I get traffic on my website only once in a 6 months when I'm planning to start a new batch, when people want to enroll. Right? So now if I keep that in hot tier, I'll have to pay 1 rupee. But because I select cool tier, what Azure will tell me that, okay, because you have selected cool tier, I'll charge you 50 paisa per 5 MB. As in, for complete storage, they're just charging me 50 paisa to keep it. But to access, we are going to charge you 2 rupees per 10K hits. Getting it, guys? This is what hot tier is, and this is what cool tier is. In cool tier, Azure will charge you more to access the data, less to just keep the data. Here, it will be charged more to keep the data, right? And less to access the data. So if you have some data which is being used very frequently, and if you keep that here in cool tier, then it's your bad decision. You will be charged extra. You should have kept that in hot tier. ठीक है, यहाँ पर कुछ पैसे ज्यादा जा रहे हैं. It's okay, 1 rupee is going. But if I calculate, they are charging 1 rupee for 10K. In a day, I get maybe uh, 10 lakhs or maybe 2 lakhs hits, right? So if I calculate that, ultimately I'll end up paying extra here, right? If you don't want that, then you should go for cool tier. Azure is not going to suggest you or not going to do anything. You should know that how it works. Then we have cold tier. This is cool and this is cold. We have one more archive also. Cold में क्या होगा? Again, it's very rarely access data. Now, if I give you an example, a bank, right? Bank, you have an account in bank, uh, let's say, and how frequently do you guys go ahead and check your statement? You guys are not individually, but just asking, how frequently do we go and check our statement? Yes, guys, real time data. Let's check real time. How frequently do you go and check your statement or log into your account and just check last 10 transactions, etc.? How frequently do we do that? Even if you're doing that using your using your GPay account, etc. It is ultimately backend में API call हो रहा है, and it is going to your bank account only. So how frequently do we do that? Any idea, any guess, based on your personal experience?
Rarely.
Rarely. So where would you
Hardly
put
in a
that?
month.
Okay, where would you keep that data? Cool or hot tier?
Cool.
Cool, right? So as a bank, I should understand people are nowadays they are not accessing this one frequently, their statement frequently, right? Now, how frequently do you access the data of last 10 years of your statement? कि मुझको 10 साल पहले का statement चाहिए. Bank will have to keep it. Why? Because of RBI guidelines. RBI will guide them 12 years. Again, don't quote me on number. Maybe the number is 7 years, but for example, let's take 12 years. RBI's guidelines say that you will have to keep data for 12 years, right? How frequently do you think it will happen that you need a record of your statement of 7 years from today? I mean, 7 year old data, 10 years old data. How frequently that happens? How frequently that happens with you guys? Every month? Do you require every month?
No.
Anyone requires every month? 7 years old data? Yes, guys. How frequently?
No.
Uh, Sorry?
Rarely, very rarely.
Very rarely, right? It will happen maybe if you won't even, I don't think so. We even require it. Even if we have some loan requirement, anything, we don't even bother about 10 years. It may happen, maybe some legal case, maybe some uh, IT notice, right? Income tax notice. They are asking some legal issue. You have to prove that in court of law somewhere you have to prove. Okay, this time I made a transaction in ATM. Obviously, I don't have a footage of 10 years back, but I do have this. Okay, the amount was withdrawn in an ATM in Bangalore, right? You are being charged. I'm being charged for some thing in Pune. It could be legal requirement. Maybe police department is asking. Maybe revenue department is asking. Could be anything, but very rare, right? That doesn't happen frequently. So that data, if you keep in hot tier, do you think it's a sensible decision? Because in cold tier, if this is the price, so the in cold tier, the price will be like this. Again, I told you these numbers are vague. Don't get into the numbers. We will get the exact number in Azure calculator. Don't worry about it. But this is for your understanding. So in cold tier, in hot tier, 1 rupee, 1 MB. In cool tier, 50 paisa, 5 MB. Here you may have 5 paisa, 5 MB annually. इतना difference हो सकता है. You literally see when you go to Azure calculator, you are going to see. But here, the charges to access could be 5 rupees, 10K. So even if you're doing one hit, maybe you'll be charged 5 rupees. But isn't it worth? Because I know ये आता भी नहीं है कभी कभार महीनों महीनों तक मुझको इसको ये भी नहीं करना पड़ता है एक्सेस भी नहीं करना पड़ता है राइट सो दिस इज हाउ यू डिसाइड विच टियर आर यू गोइंग टू यूज व्हाई अज्योर इज चार्जिंग यू डिफरेंटली मतलब उनको क्या ही फर्क पड़ता है यार आप यहाँ रख ही तो रहे हो एक्सेस कर रहे हो नहीं कर रहे हो हाउ डज इट मैटर सो इन बैकएंड इन बैकग्राउंड what whenever you say that this is frequently accessed data they will save the data on their premium disk SSD एकदम बढ़िया सा जिसमें नेटवर्क वगैरह हो सो यू डोंट हैव एनी लेटेंसी आपका वेबसाइट अच्छा चले हेंस दे आर चार्जिंग यू मोर द मोमेंट से यू से इट्स अ कूल टियर दे अंडरस्टैंड कि कभी कभार एक्सेस होने वाला लेट्स पुट इट ऑन HDD नॉट SSD HDD हार्ड डिस्क वो स्पिन होने वाला आता है काफी सस्ता होता है कंपेयर टू HDD एंड व्हेन यू से इट्स कोल्ड डेटा they will put it on the tape do you remember we used to get those tape tape पे भी डेटा सेव होता है now still they are using tapes it is very cheap very rare for them बहुत ही ज्यादा cheap होता है उनके लिए बहुत ज्यादा cheap होता है but then what happens what are the drawbacks यहाँ पर frequently access बहुत easy हो जाएगा यहाँ पर access होने में time लगेगा और ये वाला तो you won't even get it immediately try requesting 5 years old statement with your bank and they will say okay we'll send it to you via email in 1 working day you will get an email in 24 hours but try checking your last 10 transactions it will be available immediately right so ये इतने easily available होता भी नहीं है They also save it somewhere in archive, बहुत ही basic से इस पे. So this is the difference in backend. That is the reason they charge. And based on that, you select the tier. As of now, we'll go ahead with hot tier. But I hope you understand the access tier, right? If storage account का question आता है, then hot tier and this tier will definitely come. और इसमें एक और method है, life cycle management of storage account, where you can select that it happens automatically. That if I select my data in hot tier, keep it in hot tier, but in 15 days, for example, UT-Kloud, initially I'll keep it in hot tier, but I see in 15 days there is no traffic, no one is hitting my website. So automatically it should go to cool. And if I see more 30 days, no one is, these dates again, these are customizable. You can customize that. We are going to see that. We have a topic on that. So again, you see that no one is accessing my website. It should move to cold. That is called life cycle management. We are going to see that. So this is very important, right? So I hope this is clear to everyone. Let's go to the next page. Networking. We have 30 seconds left. No, we have 1 minute. Fine. So before I start networking, guys, go ahead, read this properly and let me know if you have any questions on REST API, uh, anonymous access, key. Key you will understand when we use Storage Account Explorer. See, I have already installed that Storage Explorer. Maybe not today, tomorrow, but you are going to understand key. This is also you're going to understand that when I share link with you, how you are able to access that in your browser, because I've checked this. This we will not practice. I mean, I can write a code simply, but it's not that worth. Theory part you understood, that is more than enough. This we have skipped. Tier we have done thoroughly. Any doubts, any questions, guys, till here? Okay. If not, let me stop the session. It's 12:30 almost. We'll resume at 12:35. I'm stopping the session.